So you are ready to write your first blog post, but you have a ton of questions. Where do you start? Where do you write it? How do you structure it? How long should it be? If your goal is to build a profitable blogging business with your blog, then there are specific steps and a structure that you want to follow. So that is what we are covering today. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you are brand new here, I am Maureen from thecreativeimpact.com, where I help new and growing bloggers build a profitable online business on WordPress without stress so that they can turn their passions into profits and make a massive impact on the world. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell right next to it so you don't miss any of the tips that I post on this channel each and every week. Today, we are talking all about how to actually write your first blog post from start to finish. Now, I am assuming if you are watching this video that you already have your blog set up. So if you haven't created your blog yet, check out my tutorial on how to start your blog in under 15 minutes right above. Okay, now that you're ready to write your first blog post, the first step is to figure out what to actually write about for this first post, okay? If you have not done so already, the very first thing you need to do is brainstorm blog post ideas. You never want to sit down to write your blog post without knowing what you are going to write about. That's a complete waste of time. You want to do some research first to learn what your ideal audience is actually searching for. The first video in this content creation series goes into detail about where to find endless blog post ideas for your niche, how to create a content strategy that includes keyword research, and how to use a content calendar. So if you haven't viewed this, make sure you do so. I'm going to put the video right above, and I'll also put it in the show notes. A good place to start when writing this first blog post would be writing a pillar post, like a beginner's guide or an ultimate guide to whatever your niche down topic is. Pillar, also known as evergreen or cornerstone content, is in-depth, very informative content that has a long lifespan and greatly serves your audience. Now, this type of content really helps establish your authority in your niche and lays the foundation for a solid blogging business. So I suggest starting with pillar posts. A good portion of your first blog post should be this pillar content. The second video in the content series focuses on 10 evergreen blog posts you need to have on your blog. So I'm going to leave a link for this as well to help you get some specific ideas. Okay, so once you know what you want to write about, the second step is to do some keyword research. You need to make sure that the blog post that you are writing can actually be found. There's nothing worse than putting a ton of time and effort into creating really helpful content that no one ends up reading because they can't find it. In order to make sure people can find your blog post, you want to start by doing some keyword research to see what specific words people are using when searching for information within your niche. Now, some of my favorite ways to discover keywords initially are with the Pinterest search bar, the YouTube search bar, and Google. Now, there are many more free and paid options, but when you're first starting out, these are very helpful. So for example, when you go to Pinterest and you type in a keyword like vegetarian, it is going to show you several keywords people search for with the word vegetarian in it. Write these keywords down. Next, use those same keywords and search Google. And you want to scroll down to find the people also ask section on the results page. And here you can see what questions people are asking related to those keywords. Now, I'm not going to cover ranking for keywords in this video for beginners, but I use Ubersuggest, Google Keyword Planner, and the plugin Yoast SEO to help me rank for specific keywords in search engines. This gets a little in depth, so if you want some help with this, I cover all of this with step-by-step video tutorials in my mini course, Content Creation Blueprint, which I will leave a link for in the description below. All right, once you have an idea for your first blog post and you've researched some keywords, the third step is to outline your posts. Now, I like to do this in Google Docs. It automatically saves it for you as you go, which is wonderful. I have lost so many blog posts trying to write them directly on my site. Don't do this. If you forget to save it and your computer freezes or something glitches, you can lose everything. It's happened to me more times than I can count, and it sucks. You do not want this to happen and have to start from zero. So use a notebook or Google Doc or something like that where you're not going to lose everything if something happens. Now, here's how I outline my blog post. The first thing I do is create an attention-grabbing headline. This is your title. Now, you could write the best blog post ever, but if the title isn't enticing, no one is going to click on it to read it. So how do you make sure you have a good headline? Well, my own coach recommended the site Advanced Marketing Institute to me a while back, and I have used this ever since to create great titles for my posts. I will put a link to this in the show notes, but basically you type in a title that you want to use, and it's going to rank its emotional marketing value. The higher your percentage score, the better. Now, I recommend shooting for a score of 40% or higher. You may need to play around with this, like the wording a bit to get a good score, but it's definitely worth it. Also, really important that you include the keyword or words you are trying to rank for within your title. This is really good for search engine optimization. Now, I know I'm giving you a lot of information in this video, so I have a free checklist for you that covers everything that should be included in your blog post, so you don't have to remember every step that I'm telling you in this video, okay? You can get this by going to thecreativeimpact.com/list. After creating your title, you want to have a relevant featured image. So on your blog post, there is a place for you to set your featured image. And this is what appears at the very top of your post and also on your blog roll page. Now, I design all my images in Canva. In my opinion, it's the best and easiest place to create images. I will leave a link in the show notes below. If you haven't checked out Canva yet, I highly recommend that. After you do your featured image, you need to come up with an introduction. This is where you want to really grab your reader's attention with an interesting story or facts to pique their curiosity and keep them reading. You want to make sure your keyword or keywords are included here as well. Then comes your content, right? And we're going to talk about more about this in a minute. But after your content comes your conclusion, where you wrap up the post and provide a call to action. A call to action, or also known as a CTA, instructs your reader to do something. So an example of a CTA could be to sign up for a freebie that gets them on your email list, or to book a call with you, or to join your Facebook group, whatever it is that you want them to do. And then lastly, I include on my post some more related posts at the end of the blog. So this helps my reader, after they've read my post, they want to read more of my post, get more information. I put some other relevant posts at the very end that they can click on, and that gives them more information and keeps them on my site longer. So it's a win-win. Once your outline is done, it's time to fill in all the details. So let me tell you this, people scan blog posts. They typically do not read them from beginning to end like a book. So you want to make sure that you're breaking everything down into easy to digest bits of information. You want to make the text easy for your audience to read. So you want to use things like bullet points, H2 headings and H3 subheadings, no more than 1 to 3 sentences per paragraph. Bold text to highlight specific points that you want to make a priority. Images, graphics, and or video to keep your readers' interest. You also want to make sure to include your calls to action throughout your post, not just at the end. People need to see something more than once before they act on it. So you can experiment and see what works best for you, but I definitely recommend having your CTA posted at least twice or 3 times within your post. And throughout, you're also going to want to include some internal links, which are links to other posts on your site, as well as external links to other trusted website or sources that you also reference. This is another thing that's going to help you with search engine optimization. And if your head is spinning right now, don't worry. It can feel overwhelming for sure when you're first starting out, but I promise it gets easier the more you do it. And again, I have that free checklist for you to print out and have next to you when you write each of your blog posts. This way you don't forget anything, and you can get that at thecreativeimpact.com/list. All right, we have covered a lot, but I want to quickly talk about how long your first blog post should be, because I get this question a lot from students, and my response is always your first blog post and really all blog posts after that should be long enough for you to convey all the relevant information your reader needs to know, but not so long that you're going to lose your reader. So since I recommend your first blog post should be pillar content, I suggest shooting for a post in the 1,500 to 3,000 word count range. Now, this is best practice for SEO, and I know it may seem like a lot of words to a new blogger. So really just stay focused on quality over quantity to start. Write your headline and fill in all your details. Do your best to answer people's questions and provide helpful information. And if your word count falls short, don't stress about it. You can always go back and add to it over time. The most important thing is to just start getting your content out there and doing it consistently. Okay, once your blog post is written, it's time to actually add it to your blog. Now, I use and love the premium theme Divi, but for writing my blog posts, I started using the free Gutenberg plugin that's associated with WordPress to lay out all my posts. And I find that formatting it is so much easier, and it's what I teach all my students to use now. If you want a video on how to actually format your blog post within Gutenberg on WordPress, then let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that for you. This video is long enough, so I'm not going to put it in this one. Whew, okay, once you have written your content and it's on your site, the last step is to share it. And so many beginner bloggers forget this step. They write it, they think people are going to come to them, and then it's crickets. You spent a ton of time and effort writing this first blog post, so don't forget to share it. Share it on the social media platforms that you are active on. A quick word of advice: as a new blogger, in the beginning, you're going to be juggling a lot. So don't spread yourself too thin trying to be on every social media platform thinking that that's going to get you a more reach. No. Focus on one to start and build your knowledge of the platform and build your following before moving on to another. Now, I highly recommend starting with Pinterest as a new blogger if you are not on any social media platforms and have followings yet. Pinterest is a search engine, and it is amazing at driving traffic to your blog posts, no matter your niche. All right, hopefully this video has helped you learn how to write your first blog post. Please like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure to get your blog post checklist at thecreativeimpact.com/list. I'll see you next time.